Making headlines, Parliament Speaker concludes his official visit to India and return to the capital, Male. Homeland Ministry commences the collection of biometric data on foreigners employed in resorts. And participants of Umrah pilgrimage organized by WAMI and Islamic Ministry departs for Saudi Arabia. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naim. The Speaker of Parliament, Abdur Rahim Abdullah, concludes his official visit to India and returned to the capital, Male. The Speaker's visit from 10th to 14th February was at an invitation from the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. During the visit, Speaker Abdur Rahim paid a courtesy call on Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, where the two speakers discussed the long-standing friendship between the Maldives and India and emphasized avenues for enhancing parliamentary cooperation. The Speaker thanked the Lok Sabha Speaker, highlighting the ongoing training programs conducted by the Lok Sabha for Maldives Parliament Secretariat staff under the Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the two parliaments. He also requested further support in further developing the library and archives of the Maldives Parliament, and he also expressed gratitude for India's continued assistance. Speaker Om Birla reaffirmed India's readiness to share its expertise in parliamentary operations, particularly digital innovations and training through the Parliamentary Research and Training Institute for Democracy's Pride. Speaker Abdur Rahim had also paid a courtesy call on the Vice President of India and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, between the legislatures of the Maldives and India. Discussions also covered a future collaboration between the two legislatures. Vice President Dhankar had reaffirmed India's commitment to supporting the Maldives and welcomed the members of Maldives India Parliamentary Friendship Group and the Maldivian delegation. He expressed his dedication to maintaining and further strengthening the close ties between the two countries. Speaker Abdur Rahim expressed his gratitude for India's continued assistance and extended an official invitation to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha to visit the Maldives. The Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works, Adam Sharif Umar, describes the way Maldives prepares for the holy month of Ramadan as a true symbol of the country's culture, tradition and the unity among its people. The minister made these remarks after inaugurating the Road Saf cleanup program launched ahead of this year's month of Ramadan. Minister Adam Sharif said the unity among the people of Maldives is evident in such social programs, noting that Maldivians have always come together on such occasions. The Road Saf Cleanup initiative is divided into 5 different groups with various ministries and state-owned companies. The Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology commences the collection of biometric data on foreigners employed in resorts. The ministry will be collecting information on foreigners working in 13 resorts as part of Operation Kurangi. The ministry said the work will run from February 13th to 16th, during which 56 employees of the ministry will be engaged in the data collection process. Operation Kurangi was launched on May 2nd last year as part of the first phase of the efforts to find a permanent solution to the issue of illegal migrants in the Maldives. As part of the initiative, biometric data of 52,495 foreigners has been collected so far, including data on 30,426 foreigners living in the Male area and 22,069 foreigners in other parts of the country. The operation collects fingerprints of foreigners working in the Maldives and ensure that they are residing and working in the Maldives while complying with the laws and regulations of the country. The information required for this operation is collected by setting up collection of biometric of foreigners in council offices. The Minister of Homeland Security and Technology, Ali Hassan, has earlier said that centralized register of foreign workers will be compiled using the collected data. Participants of the Umrah pilgrimage organized by the World Assembly of Muslim Youth WAMI and the Ministry of Islamic Affairs depart for Saudi Arabia. The delegation includes students from the Maldives National University MNU and Islamic University of Maldives IUM's unions, Villa College, Zikura College, Center for Higher Secondary Education CHSC, Ahmadiyya School, Hira School, as well as young Khatibs. The Ministry of Islamic Affairs said the trip is undertaken as part of the Islamic Leadership Program announced by President Dr. Mohammad Moise while delivering this year's presidential address. The study tour, running from 14th to 21st February, will include educational programs as well as tours to significant Islamic sites in Makkah and Medina. Last year, the Islamic Ministry sent imams and khatibs to Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia for experience and training. The Health Protection Agency HPA advises Hajj and Umrah pilgrims traveling from the Maldives to complete the required vaccinations prior to their departure. The recommendations aims to protect the pilgrims from diseases as millions of people from all over the world gather in Saudi Arabia for Hajj and Umrah pilgrimage. It also seeks to limit the risk of spreading diseases upon their return to the Maldives. The vaccines required for Hajj and Umrah pilgrims are the meningococcal conjugate vaccine, influenza vaccine, and oral polio vaccine. The HPA said all Hajj and Umrah service providers as well as individual travelers must ensure that they complete their vaccinations within the stipulated time. The vaccines must be completed at least 14 days prior to departure to receive full protection. The HPA said vaccination requirements are based on the prevalence of diseases and the risk of transmission in the Maldives. Depending on advancements in vaccine development and changes in the prevalence of some diseases, vaccine requirements may change and the information will be made public in that case. The Maldives Hajj Corporation Limited decides to compile a register for health workers to provide health assistance to pilgrims during Hajj and Umrah pilgrimage. The Hajj Corporation has now opened the opportunity to register for upcoming Umrah and Hajjs for interested doctors and nurses. The Hajj Corporation further said that after the register is compiled, the health assistants will be selected from among those registered in the register for pilgrimages. The responsibilities of the nurses and doctors that travel with the pilgrims include assessing the health conditions of the pilgrims and treating the sick. Nurses also expected to work in accordance with doctors' instructions in caring for patients. Meanwhile, it is also the responsibility of doctors to take the pilgrims to hospitals for health reasons while in Makkah and Medina. It is also the responsibility of the doctors and nurses to assist the Hajj Corporation in making all medical arrangements during the journey and other relevant matters encountered during the journey. The Hajj Corporation said that preference will be given to those who are fluent in Arabic and Urdu and have experience in Hajj and Umrah. Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC posts $136.2 million in revenue last year. However, according to MTCC's financial figures last year, this revenue figure is 32.1% down from the previous year's $207.5 billion.
MTCC's operating income fell 37.2% compared to 2023, according to the fourth quarter of financial report. The company had operating revenue of $28.1 million in 2023, but suffered a significant decline to $13.7 million last year. The decline in revenue was reflected in MTCC's profit, with the company posting profit before tax of $6.4 million for 2025. This is 41% lower than a previous year. MTCC had posted a net profit of $5.5 million last year. The figure shows that MTCC posted a net profit of $27.1 million in the fourth quarter of last year. This is a decrease of 28.8% compared to Rupiah 38.1 million in the third quarter of the last year. MTCC posted an operating profit of $11.5 million in the fourth quarter. The company had operating revenue of $823,000 in the third quarter. MTCC posted a net profit of $9.8 million in the last quarter of 2024. The state-owned MTCC is implementing multiple infrastructure projects across the country. According to the company, MTCC carried out 189 projects in the last quarter of last year. 9 projects were completed and 3 new projects were started during the quarter. The highlights of MTCC's achievement in 2024 includes Mafaro Airport expansion, second phase, and a channel development in the harbour of Kumundu, Hadal Atoll.
The operator of the Maldives National Airline Island Aviation Service Limited (IASL) successfully obtains the European Union Aviation Safety Agency EASA Part 145 approval certificate. This certification authorizes IASL to provide aircraft maintenance, repair and overhaul servicing for European registered aircraft.
Part 145 is an international framework for aircraft maintenance that is used by global aviation authorities. The certificate is issued by aviation authorities across the world. The most widely accepted frameworks are issued by the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) and EASA. Island aviation engineers have obtained certification from 12 international authorities, including the UAE. Following the obtaining of the EASA Part 145 approval certificate, the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation Muhammad Amin congratulated Maldivian on the achievement. He said the achievement was expedited under President Dr. Muizzu's national airline reform and modernization agenda and helped strengthen the aviation sector. With the obtainment of the certificate, IASL can now service aircraft registered in Europe. While a large number of aircraft already receive services from the Maldives at the main international airport, Belana International Airport, the EASA Part 145 certification will allow services to be offered to the aircraft from additional airlines. IASL's Director of Engineering Operations, Muhammad Hassan, said the certification will enable IASL to offer services to additional airlines, as well as resolve encountered in operations in a timely manner. It also presents valuable opportunities for those working in the national airline and those who wish to succeed in the field. IASL employees are already capable of providing maintenance services to most aircrafts that arrive in the Maldives. This includes large wide-body aircraft such as Airbus, Boeing 777 and 787. Additionally, the Tecnam aircraft used at Maldivian Aviation Academy, Dash 8 and ATR aircraft used to domestic operations are also included. IASL already provides services to over 30 airlines. While IASL becomes the first airline in the Maldives to obtain the EASA certification, the company believes this is a major step forward for the Maldives aviation history as well as the services provided by the company.
Indian youth flag privacy is a major concern as India's markets regulator seeks broader powers from the government to remove unauthorized financial advice from social media platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram and to access their call records for investigations into market violations.
Students in various cities, while appreciating the regulator's step, also cast apprehensions on the potential access of their social media records. This is the second time since 2022 that the Securities and Exchange Board of India has sought such powers, with approval from the government still pending. The request comes as the regulator has intensified investigations into market violations and clamped down on unregulated financial advice circulating on social media. Social media companies have also not complied with the government's request for access to their call data records and groups and channels, despite an earlier meeting with the regulator. WhatsApp groups and Telegram channels have become popular among market participants, with financial influencers sharing trading tips on specific stocks and other securities in return for money.
The suffering of citizens in Gaza's Jabalia camp has worsened significantly after they returned to find their homes reduced to rubble.
Displaced families in Gaza have spent harsh nights atop on beside their destroyed homes, enduring the bitter cold, heavy rain and strong winds that have flooded their tents and even uprooted some of them, further deepening their hardship amid already dire conditions caused by the destruction of their homes during the war. Hamas said only 8,500 trucks out of the 12,000 that should have arrived so far had entered the territory, most containing food and secondary goods including chips and chocolate instead of more urgent items. In addition, only 10% of the 200,000 tents and 60,000 caravans needed to provide shelter had arrived, Hamas said, leaving hundreds of thousands exposed to harsh winter weather. Israel has rejected accusations that it is dragging its feet on enabling the entry to aid supplies is a completely unfounded claim, saying it has allowed in thousands of trucks including tents and shelters. But hundreds of thousands of people are still marooned in tents and other makeshift shelters, worn out by months of use as the fighting raged last year.
Fans flooded the street of Philadelphia on a Friday, February 14th, to celebrate the Eagles' Super Bowl 59 championship at a downtown parade.
Members of the team, including quarterback Jalen Hurts, running back Saquon Barkley, and Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie, held up the Vince Lombardi Trophy and waved to fans from buses along the parade route. Former Philadelphia Eagles center Jason Kelce was also seen greeting the crowd. After the traditional victory parade, crowds gathered at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, where 72 steps were made famous in a notable scene from the 1976 film Rocky. Fireworks and performers opened the celebration ahead of speakers. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro called the Eagles America's team, while quarterback Jalen Hurts told the crowd that he'd vowed not to run up to the so-called Rocky steps until the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Offensive tackle Jordan Mailata led the crowd in sing-along of "We Are the Champions." The Eagles earned their second Super Bowl championship in franchise history on February 10th, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22 in Super Bowl 59.
South Africa's United Pharmaceutical Distributors, UPD, launches 42 electric delivery vans with solar-powered refrigeration from startup Electric beginning its transition to an electric fleet.
Local startups are racing to offer such vehicles for local deliveries as retailers aim to achieve environmental, social and corporate governance (ESG) and emission reduction targets. UPD, owned by the country's largest retail pharmacy group, Clicks CLSJ.J, will roll out the fleet of 42 Maxus e-Delivery 3-panel vans in the provinces of Gauteng and Western Cape, said Trevor McCoy, managing executive of UPD, at the launch event. An additional 36 vans are earmarked for Gauteng later in the year. Next year, the rollout will include coastal cities Gqeberha in Port Elizabeth and Durban in KwaZulu-Natal province. UPD has a fleet of 100 independently owned vehicles across the country and plans to convert all its diesel-powered vehicles into electric-powered vehicles. The vans manufactured by China's SAIC 600104.SS are imported by Ever Electric, which builds the refrigeration boxes locally to supply to UPD's independent drivers. Lender Investec INLJ.J is providing financing to the drivers. The vehicles are expected to cut about 1 ton of carbon dioxide per month each, with the entire fleet projected to save 2.4 million liters of diesel and reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 6.3 million kilograms over its lifespan.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.